Hello ladies and gents, this is me, Evan, your friend in some really exciting tutorials in photography and not only photography. In this video, I will compare to you my two favorite lenses of 85mm. I'm talking about the Nikkor 1.8G and the Samyang 1.4. So we will see which one is the best and which one you should buy for your business. So let's just start by saying that the Nikkor lens costs at about 550 euros, which means a lot of money, but not a lot of money for an 85mm lens, because the 1.4G Nikkor, let's say, costs at about 1,500 euros, so it's 3 times more the price. But this is for 1.4, this is 1.8, but the Samyang, it is 1.4. That means that we can have brighter photos and photos with better bokeh and better and blurred background. So this means that this thing should be better than this thing, okay? But this thing also should cost more than this thing. But no, my friends, this thing costs at about 200 euros less than this puppy. So it's about 350 euros in Europe, of course. This lens is the Samyang 85, as you can see, 1.4. You can see and find this lens also with other brands. I don't know how many brands they build the same quality of an 85mm 1.4, but you can find it also in other companies. I have to say, first of all, that this lens is a manual lens. That means that you cannot focus automatic, okay? This is a big advantage for someone, but also a big disadvantage for someone else. So I have to mention that before we start the comparison. For me, it's not a big disadvantage if you don't do, fast shootings, okay? If you take your pace and take your time and do, slow and relaxed photo shootings, this is a great lens. And you will see afterwards in the photo comparison of those two lenses that maybe this lens is a little better than the other one. So let's start first of all with build quality and say that this lens, of course we have seen this lens already, it's built like a tank. It is a metal build, which is superb. I love to to hold metal lenses. Makes me feel that I have a jewelry on my collection, not a plastic piece of shit, let's say, because I spend too much money and I don't want to invest in plastic, okay? So plastic means cheap, so metal means better quality. Well, it used to mean that thing in the past, but nowadays Nikon, Canon and the other brands, the other, let's say, big brands, they don't really invest in metal bodies of lenses. So we have to realize that that era of metal build quality lenses has gone, sadly. Anyway, the Samyang, it's a great lens. It's built like a tank. It has an aperture ring for the vintage shooters out there. Of course, you can control the aperture from your machine, from your camera, and it can go to 1.4 aperture opening. So that means that we can have wonderful, dreamy photos, but it is manual. On the other hand, we have this lens, which is plastic. Really, 500 euros and 50 for a plastic lens. Oh God, okay, this is a really bad thing. Anyway, in the new G series, you don't find the aperture ring in the Nikkor lenses. If you want the aperture ring, you have to go to the D series, not the G one, okay? Overall, this lens is a really good lens, good design build. The plastic is not so terrible, okay? It's not metal also, but okay. And it can go at 1.8 of aperture. So the f, it can be maximum at 1.8 f opening, okay? And the smaller or the highest amount of f, it can be the f16 This lens can go up to f22, which means one more stop of less light if you want to cut light from your photographs. But of course, those two lenses, you don't really buy them to have them at f16 or f22. So we will compare them at about f8 until f1.8. Okay, so wonderful. Except the build quality, I have to mention the weight of those two lenses. And this lens is about half a kilo of weight, which means at about approximately 2 pounds. It's a little heavy because it's metal. Okay, this lens, it is 200 grams or 150 grams lighter than this lens. So if you don't want to stress your hand, you have to take a smaller or plastic lens. If you want to feel like a Rambo or to feel like, you know, a proper photographer with muscles and stuff, even if you are a girl, no problem, you can have a metal lens. So if this is not a problem for you, it is okay. This is built in Korea, if you would like to know, and this is built in China, if you would like to know as well. So no Japanese quality, let's say, lens and that other crap. Anyway, also this lens has 8 blades inside the aperture, and when I say aperture, I mean this little thing over here. So these are 8 blades that they create better bokeh, of course in theory, let's say. And the other lens has 7 blades, which theoretically again means that the bokeh quality is not going to be the same as the Samyang, maybe a little worse, but we will see that in a little while. So most of all, this is the comparison of the build and the characteristics of the lens when they are outside, not connected, let's say, to the camera. When we will connect them to the camera, and my camera is the Nikon D800, we will see if we have a game changer or if those lenses, they go side by side with no, a big difference after all. So we will see that in a while, because I did some shots and I will show them to you in a minute or maybe less, when I will stop, talking and mumbling. And so let's go and see which one is the best. And let's go and see if this lens, the 550 euro lens, is better than this lens, the 350 euro. Actually, so far, the biggest difference is the automatic focus system that this lens has. But let's see if the quality, it is better or maybe not. So let's go now to Lightroom and find it out. So right now I'm inside Lightroom. As you can see, I took some shots of my little and spooky sometimes friend, and we will compare the Nikon 1.8G with the Samyang 1.4. So let's go and find this out. We will make some shots. We will start from f8 and we will go down to 1.4, of course for the Samyang, and 1.8 for the Nikon, in order to realize which one is the best. So I will go here. I will select, first of all, the f8 of the Nikkor lens, and then I will go and find the f8 of the Samyang. Probably this has to be. Wonderful. So I will just select both again, and I will just hit the C in order to see the comparison window. So now we'll just close this one. As you can see, from the very first beginning, we don't really can say which one lens is the better. Actually, this one, it's not the lens that we are looking, that we want to see. Actually, I did a mistake here. So let's go back again and find this one and that one. So compare now. Okay, so now it's great. So at first, we don't really can say that we see any difference. Probably the Samyang lens tends to be a little more yellow. You see, we have more warm results. Here we have more good reproduction of the white balance with the Nikkor lens. So the Nikkor lens tends to be theoretically more good or better in the white balance. Okay, so actually I think I like more this quality of the warm colors, but anyway, if we have to stay strictly objective here, we have to say that this lens the Nikkor lens makes the color look correct. Okay, wonderful. So then I will go close to the lens, to the shots. The focus area was the eye of this wonderful guy over here. So I will go to the eye, and we will realize that the Nikkor and the Samyang don't have so much of a difference. If we don't see at all the warm colors of the Samyang, they don't really seem different lenses. I could say that the Samyang tends to be a tack more sharp than the Nikkor. As you can see here, the Nikkor is a little soft here, but the Samyang is more, sharp here, and also in the nose, and maybe on the forehead here, maybe some spots. Maybe here you can tell a difference, but more or less they tend to be the same in sharpness. So I don't really see the difference of those 200 euros yet. In the battle of the bokeh, I can see that the Samyang has a little more blurred letters over here, over this dictionary, let's say. You see the 2-in-1 doesn't look so clear as this shot. You see that? And we're still at f8. Okay, once we go lower, you will see the difference really. So let's go back and let's see some other comparisons. So let's go now to the f5.6. Just hit that, and compare those two. Okay, so again, I will just go here. Of course, still I can see the warm tones of the Samyang, that they are on my photo, but overall the photo looks the same. Okay, so let's go closer to the eye of my subject and see the sharpness. The sharpness is again great for the Nikon and superb for the Samyang, a lens that costs at about 350, my friends. Okay, and the points here look good. You see that pretty good sharpness over here. You see that? Wonderful for such a cheap lens, a Korean lens. And the bokeh, as you can see now, the 2-in-1, it's a little visible here, but here you cannot really tell that here was a letter or a number. As you can see, the bokeh or the blurred, let's say, background is really more drastic on the 8 blades lens than on the 7 blades lens. So overall, the photos look the same, except from the color tones and maybe a little more bokeh or a little more better quality in the bokeh in the Samyang. So let's go back again and see the next one. Of course, I have to go here, see that, and then go to this one and hit the C. Now we are at, actually we are wrong again, so let's go to here and maybe, I think here. Okay, so it's here and here. Hit the C. Wonderful. And now we are at f4. So at f4 again, I don't really see a big difference except the colors of the white balance, but overall the shots look equal. So let's now go again close to the eye. The quality again of the sharpness looks the same. As you can see, it's superb, the quality of the Samyang, comparing to a more expensive and modern lens of Nikkor. So the sharpness looks great. Let's see the bokeh. You see now that the bokeh here is really more drastic. We really don't see any sign of letters here. It's just a blurred image over here. It's blended, the green of the book and the white of the letters, so it's something like blue and green and gray something. But here you can clearly see that the blurred letters, okay, numbers, they're still here, okay? So it's a big difference again. So now let's go again to the serious game at the 2.8, okay? 2.8 now, and I think this one, okay? So it's 2.8 here, and I think 2.8 here, okay? 2.8, and I think this one, wonderful. Sometimes it's really hard to select the right photos. Anyway, but now we're okay. Again, I see a difference in colors, but nothing else. And I go there. And the eye of the Nikon tends to look a little more soft than this shot. I really cannot tell. You can tell if you see something different here. But I should say that the sharpness again looks the same, more or less. Not a big difference. So the big difference has to be the color tones and of course the bokeh. As you can see here, I cannot really say that there used to be a line of text. I can only see a gray, blue-gray area, but here I can see also the text line over here, as you can see. So it's a big difference again, but not so crucial, okay? Also, I can tell that I start to see some visible vignetting on this lens, probably also in that one, but not so strong. So let's now go to the more serious path, the path of f2. So let's go here to f2 and let's go then to probably that one. Okay, this one. So this is 2 and this is 2. Wonderful. And compare those two. Okay, f2.8.0. And again, I see it seems like the Samyang lens, it's a little more darker, as you can see that. Probably it was a game of the sun outside my window because the settings are the same for the two shots. But anyway, we will compare the sharpness and the bokeh. So I'll go there. And as you can see, again, the Nikkor seems a little softer than the Samyang, as you can see this one. Check this this part of the eye over here. And this, you see that? So probably the Samyang lens gives me more correct reproduction of the subject. And I can see some red now in the Nikkor, or maybe not. You will help me, I'm sure, in the comment area. But overall, it seems okay, both of the shots, okay? And also let's go to the bokeh. Of course, here now the bokeh, it's really not visible, the text, but I can see some white gray spots, but here they are only green and blue spots. So you can clearly see a difference here in the reproduction of the bokeh. Wonderful. And let's go now to the 1.8, you know, the end, let's say, of the Nikkor. And of course, on the Samyang, we can go even lower. So now I will go to this one and hit the compare button. You will see that the Samyang went to the 1.7. So it's going to be almost the same. So let's go here, and of course, again, I can see difference in the quality of the color in the back. You can see clearly that the Samyang is more warm, and the Nikkor is more balanced. So let's go close to the eye for a better, you know, comparison. So now the Nikon looks pretty good, pretty sharp here. Probably the previous shot was a little bit blurred, but this shot looks really good. And also the same happens also for the Samyang. It looks great at 1.7 for such a cheap lens. Oh my god, it's wonderful. And let's see here, the sharpness is great for both the lenses. For shots, a tiny depth of field. And let's see the bokeh. Okay, the bokeh looks, I could say, equal. Okay, maybe a little more blurred here than here, but okay, it's not such a big difference, let's say. And we can clearly see some vignetting over here. Check this out. This is the Nikkor, as you can see. We have vignetting here. A big, I should say, vignetting comparing to the Samyang. You see that? And now I will just go to and compare, of course, the 1.8 of the Nikkor to the 1.4 to the Samyang. Okay, so let's just see that. We'll just select the first shot, and then I will go to the last one and hit the C button, and actually not this one, this has to be okay, for some reason it didn't work. So just hit back, just click this one, control click the other one, and now probably we're gonna have them. And now we can see the maximum widest aperture of the Nikkor and the maximum widest aperture of the Samyang. You see the f1.4 gives me better quality in the background area and of course in the feeling of the photo. It's really big difference. And of course we can go to the bokeh to see the quality. Of course it's all erased over here. You cannot really say what used to be here, but here you can even now you can say that probably here was a text or something. Okay, and the quality of the sharpness, you can see that the Samyang tends to be a little softer, but okay, we're talking about 1.4, my friend. Okay, so now let's see a little bit the difference while I'm going from the f8 to 1.4 with the Samyang. So we're here. This is the f8, as you can see, and then I will go to f5.6. You see we have a difference in the background, as you can realize, and then we go to the f4. Check this huge difference in the background between the f5.6 and the 4. See that? Superb difference, my friend. And then let's go to the f2.8. Check this out. This is the 4, this is the 2.8. And now let's go to the serious stuff. Let's go from the 2.8 to 2. Check this out. Wonderful difference, huge difference of the background. And then let's go lower even more to the 1.8 or 7 in this lens. Check this out. Even at from 2 to the 1.7 we have a big difference in the bokeh. And from the 1.7 to the 1.4, check this out. Even then we have a huge difference. So if you own an f2.8 lens and say, I don't really need a portrait lens because I can succeed the same bokeh as that lens, check this out, my friend. This used to be the f2.8, okay? And this is the f1.4. See that? See the huge difference over here and that? Big difference. So this was the Samyang and this is the Nikkor. So it's the f8, then f5.6. We don't really see a big difference, maybe a little bit in the background. Then we see a big difference in the f5.6 to the f4. Then we see a huge difference between the f4 to f2.8. And of course then we'll go to f2. Extremely big difference, you see that? And of course then from f2 we go to the f1.8. And we see more or less the same effect in the background and of course the environment. Check this out. This is the f1.8 and this is the f8. You see a big difference in the bokeh. Check this out. These dark spots around the photo. Check this out. Huge difference, okay? But of course I love the the vignetting, but some people probably they don't really like. So if we don't really want to mess with the vignetting, you have to take care of that, okay? Even in Lightroom or by a different lens. Let's see how the Samyang does the vignetting comparison of the f8 to the f1.4. So this is the f8 of this lens and this is the f1.4. So you have just seen with your own eyes that those two lenses have nothing different. Actually, the Samyang, the cheaper lens, looks better than the Nikkor, the more expensive lens. So why the heck I should buy the Nikkor instead of the Samyang? Well, of course, the big answer in that, or actually the main answer, the main logic, let's say, answer in that, is that the Nikkor lens is an automatic focusing lens. That means that it focuses with the help of my camera. This lens doesn't focus automatically. I have to focus with my own fingers. So if you don't really like this idea, or if this idea makes you, anxious and scared, you have to go here. if you don't have this, fear of manual focusing, this lens is a superb solution with half of the price and with a build quality that it will last forever, my friend. But I respect the fact that too many photographers out there, they really need a fast and accurate lens that makes many things with the help of the camera. So if you want a fast lens, a pretty accurate lens, and a good quality lens, because the photos that we've seen in the previous comparison were really good with both the lenses, but we have to have in mind always the 200 euros difference. So if you really need something fast and something accurate, this is the lens for you. If you're shooting weddings, if you're shooting portraits on the go, if you're going outside and making shots and shootings, this is the lens for you. A fast and accurate lens. If you're working, with your own pace, if you're working in a studio with studio flashes and in apertures at f8 or even higher, so this lens, it needs to be considered because it will help you, have more money on your pocket. So the comparison was that, in my opinion, the Samyang lens is a wonderful lens if you don't have in mind the automatic focusing. If you have the automatic focusing in mind, so go and grab this Nikon 1.8G. It's a wonderful lens. I have it in my collection. I have actually both in my collection, and I never regret that thing because the one gives me more artistic and super bokeh 1.4, but the other helps me making more money out of weddings and other fast and furious events. So the choice is yours. If you like the video, please like my work and don't forget to subscribe to my channel in order to see first my other videos. Have fun, my friend, and keep photographing.